Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a 14 by 14 inch alla prima oil painting of a corner store in San Francisco. Okay, so I've decided to tone the panel with burnt sienna, so I just gave it a thin wash and then scrubbed it off with a paper towel. I am sketching in burnt sienna as usual. The burnt sienna has just been thinned with odorless mineral spirits. I'm just mapping out the big shapes here, and part of the drawing process for me too is just getting familiar with the subject, so that when I do come in with the color, I can move quickly and with more confidence because I'm already familiar with the subject. This drawing took a little bit longer than normal because it's more complicated and the panel's slightly bigger. So I'd say I spent about 20 minutes on the drawing, whereas normally for like say a small still life or something, I might spend 5 minutes or less on it. So this drawing took a little bit longer, but I do feel like I was familiar, so that when I started coming in with the darks, I was able to move really quickly. So the darks are a mixture of ultramarine and alizarin crimson, and I'm working dark to light, trying to establish a feeling of light early on in the painting. That's part of the reason that I tone it with that warm color, is that once you put in the shadow shapes, you've already got a feeling of light. Now, a lot of the colors that are in the shadows, I'm going to be adjusting, but basically I'm just trying to get that feeling of light early and then hang on to it throughout the painting. So there's a lot of back and forth going on because the brush I'm using, which is a number 6 natural bristle flat from Utrecht, a Utrecht 209, it's not a very precise tool, which is what I wanted. There's a lot of going back and forth with shapes. I put the sky in, and what you can use, like a lot of times it's good to put the sky in early because you can key your painting to the sky. I'm going to lighten up the sky because right around the horizon or at the crest of the road there, it was, there's a sense of light up there that I wanted to capture. So I did lighten up the sky, maybe more than I think it looks good. There's a good feeling of airiness in the sky. Sometimes if it's too dark, it feels like it's pasted on. I want to have that airy feeling. Part of what I do is to get that is grade the sky, usually from the horizon, light at the horizon towards a darker, deeper blue as you get up higher in the sky. So here, just going back and forth, just tuning up the geometry and trying to maintain that feeling of light. I didn't want to use a straight edge on this painting. I wanted to freehand it as much as possible. Sometimes if you use a straight edge, you can strike a really strong line. If you're trying to get a strong line without a straight edge, I feel like you've got to do multiple strokes and just kind of work your way, and then correct it and go back and forth until you get that line straight. But I feel like that's a much more interesting application of paint than if you just use a ruler and just strike a straight line. Not that there aren't times when doing that can be helpful. It can, like with lines on the street, it can be really helpful to use a straight edge and have that really super straight, strong line. But in this particular case, I wanted to try to avoid using the straight edge if possible. With the sign, I'm just going to suggest the Coca-Cola insignia. I don't like putting in text into a painting just because I feel like it's such a distraction. The eye is so drawn to text and to words that I feel like if I put them in there, it detracts from the overall composition or the overall painting. So I just decided to leave the text out, and with the Coca-Cola sign, just kind of abstractly suggest it. So now coming in with the warmer colors, and I do feel like I've maintained a good feeling of light in this one. Looking at it now, that in the photograph, the sidewalk is a lot lighter. I do lighten that up, but looking at it right here, I kind of like that the front of the building has most of the light, and then the sidewalk is darker. But I do believe that I come in and lighten up that sidewalk. I spent another half hour or so just cleaning things up as usual, and mostly just I kind of focused around the windows here, just trying to make sure that this curved portion of the building read properly. I didn't do a lot down in the store area. That all felt pretty good. Did have to clean up some of the lines on the street. Also to a little bit of detail with the buildings. Actually, looks like there even needs to be a little bit more cleanup there. But I tried to do the minimum amount, and I did use a straight edge, I think just on this edge right here. So lately I've been trying to paint looser and use more paint. And I feel like when I'm stopping these paintings, often I'm very uncomfortable. I feel like it needs more finish. But what I'm finding is that when I live with the paintings for a few days, I'm actually glad that I didn't take them further. So I think that it's been a good exercise to stop myself early, you know, when I'm a little bit uncomfortable, because that allows for growth. If I continue to finish these paintings the way I always did, then they would just be the same and I wouldn't be advancing. But I think by stopping when I'm uncomfortable and then living with it, it allows my perception to catch up, if that makes sense, or my perception to mature, so that in the future when I'm painting, I'll say, no, I like to leave it with this level of looseness, and it's going to be fine. Anyway, as usual, thanks for hanging out, guys, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. A big thanks to my Patreon supporters. It's the Patreon support that keeps me making these videos. There's a link in the description. Other than that, stay creative, and I'll see you guys in the next video.